Hey guys, welcome to my channel. We are going to be reading Little Women by Louisa M. Alcott. We're actually going to be on, it's kind of upside down. I don't know if that's supposed to be like that, but we are going to be reading chapter 20. So, I will just start reading. Chapter 20. Confidential. I don't think I have any words in which to tell the meeting of my mother and daughters. Such hours are beautiful to live, but very hard to describe. So I will leave it to the imagination of my readers. Merely saying that the house was full of genuine happiness and that Meg's tender hope was realized. For when Beth woke from her long healing sleep, the first object on which her eyes fell were the little Rose and Mother's face. Too weak to wonder at anything, she only smiled and nestled close into the loving arms about her, feeling the hungry longing was satisfied at last. Then she slept again, and the girls waited upon their mother, for she would not unclasp the thin hands which clung to hers. Even in sleep, Hannah had dished up the astonishing breakfast for the traveler, and Meg and Joe fed their mother like dustful storks. While they listened to her account the father's state, Mr. Brooks promised to stay the nurse him, and delays which the storm. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm just going to say occurred. On the homeward, because that word is like messed up. It's all, I don't know how to explain it. On the homeward journey, and the comfort Laurie's hopeful face had given her when she arrived, worn out with fatigue, anxiety, and cold. When the strange yet pleasant day that was, so brilliant and gay, without all the world seemed aboard to welcome the first snow, so quiet and reposeful within, for every one slept with watching, with the blissful sense of burdens lifted off. Meg and Joe closed their weary eyes and lie at rest. Miss March would not leave Beth's side, but rested in the big chair, waking often to look at, touch, and board over her child like a miser over the recovering treasure. Laurie, meanwhile, posted off to comfort Amy, and told his story so well that Aunt March actually sniffed herself and never once said, "I told you so." Amy came out so strong on this occasion that the good thoughts in the little chapel really began to bear fruit. She dried her tears quickly, restrained her impatience to see her mother, and never even thought of the turquoise ring. When the old lady heartfully agreed in Laurie's opinion that she behaved like a capital little woman, she would gladly have gone out to enjoy the bright wintry weather. But discovering that Laurie was dropping with sleep, she pursued him to rest on the sofa. While she wrote the note to her mother, she was a long time about it, and when she returned, he was stretched out with both arms under his head, sound asleep, while Aunt March had pulled down the curtains and sat down doing nothing, in an unusual fit of dignity. After a while, they began to think he was not going to wake till night, and I'm not sure that he would. Had he not been effectively roused by Amy's cry of joy at sight of her mother, there probably were a good many happy little girls in and about the city that day. But it was my private opinion that Amy was the happiest of all. When she sat in her mother's lap and told her tales, receiving consolation and compensation in the shape of approving smile and fawned curiously. They were alone together in the chapel, to which her mother did not object when its purpose was explained to her. On the contrary, I like it very dear, she said. It is an excellent plan to have some place where we can be quiet when things grieve us. Yes, mother. And when I go home, I mean to have a corner in the big closet to put my books and a copy of the picture which I've tried to make. The woman's face is not good. It is too beautiful for me to draw. But the baby is done better, and I love it very much. As Amy pointed to the smiling Christ child on the mother's knee. Sorry, guys, I'm having allergies really bad. Oh my gosh. As Amy pointed to the smile Christ child on mother's knee, Miss March saw something on the lifted hand that made her smile. She said nothing, but Amy understood the look, and after a minute pause, she added gravely, I wanted to speak to you about this. Aunt gave me the ring today. She called me to her and kissed me and put it on my finger and said I was a credit to her. She gave that funny guard to keep the turquoise on, as it's too big. I'd like to wear them. Mother, can I? They are very pretty, but I think you're rather too young for such ornaments, Amy, said Miss March. Of course not. It would be an idiotic. I knew there was mischief brewing. I felt it, and now it was worse than I imagined. I just wish I could marry Meg myself and keep her safe in the family. This old arrangement made Miss March smile, but she was gravely, Joe, I confide in you, and don't wish you to say anything to Meg yet. When John comes back, I see them together. I judged before of her feelings towards him. She'll see his in those handsome eyes that she talks about, and then it will be all up to her. She's got such a soft heart, it will melt like butter in the sun if anyone looks sentimentally at her. She read the short report. He sent more than she did her letters, and pinched me when I spoke of it, and liked brown eyes, and I don't think John an ugly name, and she'll go and fall in love, and there is an end of peace and fun and cozy times together. Oh, dearie me, why weren't we all boys? And then there wouldn't be any bother. Jo leaned her chin to her knee in disconsolate attitude and shook her fist at the hospitable John. Miss March sighed, and Jo looked up with an air of relief. You don't like it, Mother. I'm glad of it. Let's send him about his business, and not tell Meg a word of it, but all be jolly together. I did wrong to sigh, Jo. It is natural and right you should go to homes of your own in time, but I don't want to keep my girls as long as I can. And I'm sorry that this happened so soon for Meg. For Meg is only 17. Your father and I have agreed that she shall not bind herself nor be married before 20. If she and John love one another, they can wait and test the love by doing so. Hadn't you rather have her marry a rich man? Asked Jo. Money is good and useful thing, Jo, and I hope my girls will never feel the need to do bitterly. nor be tempted by too much. I content to see Meg began humble, for she will be rich in the possession of a good man's heart, and that is better than a fortune. I understand, mother, but I'm disappointed about Meg, for I'd planned to have her marry Teddy by the day, by and by, and sit in the lap of luxury all her days. Wouldn't it be nice? I asked, Joe looking up with a brighter face. He is younger than she, you know, began Miss March, but Joe broke in. Oh, that don't matter. He's old for his age and tall. Then he's rich and generous and good and loves us all. I'm afraid Laurie is hardly grown up enough for Meg, and altogether too much of a weathercock just now for anyone to depend on. Don't make plans, Joe, but let time and their hearts mate your friends. We can't mindle safety in such matters, and had better not get romantic rumbish, as you call it, into our heads, lest it spoils our friendship. Well, I won't, but I hate to see things go all crisscross and getting snarled up when a pole here and a snap there would straighten it out. I wish wearing flat irons on your head would keep us from growing up, but buds will be roses and kittens, cats, more's the pity. What's about the flat irons and cats? Asked Meg as she crept into the room with a finished letter in her hand. Only one in my stupid speeches. I'm going to bed. Come on, Peggy, said Joe, unfolding herself like an animated puzzle. Quite right, and beautifully written, because add that I sent my love to John, said Miss March, as she glanced over the letter. Do you call him John? Asked Meg, smiling. Yes, he has been like a son to us, and we are very fond of him, replied Miss March. I'm glad of that. He is so lonely. Good night, mother, dear. It is so comfortable to have you here, was Meg's quiet answer, and her mother gave her was a very tender one, and she went away. Miss March said, with a mixture of satisfaction and regret, she does not love John, yet will be soon to learn to. All right, that is the end of chapter 20, and we will read chapter 20 later on in another video. I will see you guys in that next video. Have a great day, guys.